Good evening, happy Thursday. Welcome to this edition of the Activated Author Live. Let me run something by you. Have you been considering creating an audiobook, like that version of your book or your story? You've heard stories of people creating audiobooks, and maybe you prefer that form of literature because you're not big on reading anymore, because maybe you ain't got no time for that. But that's something you're considering for your book. I want to go over this tonight because this is another revenue stream that authors can tend to leave on the table if they're not careful. And I also wanted to debunk the stereotype that Audible is the only place where you can create your audiobook. It's not. I promise you it's not. Okay. This is Melissa T, the procrastination bully, and your hashtag author bestie. Again, welcome to another edition of the Activated Author Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, real quick, I'm going to make sure that our Instagram folks can join the live stream. Shout out to everybody that always joins every Thursday. And hey, you have your pick of where you can catch it. You can catch it live on Instagram, LinkedIn, or on YouTube every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right. So one more time for our IG folks, we're just coming in. I'll be helping you navigate some options, some audiobook options outside of Amazon's Audible. They cornered the market. So shout out to Amazon. Like, Audible is the kingpin as it relates to audiobooks still, in terms of name, in terms of ubiquity. Like, Audible is still the first name that comes to mind. But tonight I'm going to also share with you 4 other options you can use if you're considering creating an audiobook. Okay. I did the research so you don't have to. Like, I've found the 5 most cost-effective options for creating an audiobook. Obviously, since Audible is the granddaddy, it is one of the distributors on this list. It's just not the only one. Shout out to my current coach, Dr. Myron Golden. He was like, hey, Audible is not the move. Like, they take a big chunk of your royalties. He quoted what was the previous rate, because if you gave Audible or ACX, which is the name of the actual platform, which is Audiobook Creation Exchange, or Audiobook Creators Exchange, the original setup, the original payout setup was you had to commit to a roughly 7-year lock-in of exclusive rights to Audible. And if you choose the exclusive rights, you had the choice between exclusive and non-exclusive. But if you wanted the highest amount, the highest royalty rate, you would lock into the exclusive rights, which is only 40% royalties. That was insane. He blew my mind when he said that. I've done the research, and they just recently, as in within the last couple months, updated their pricing model. So if you choose to give them exclusive rights, you're not locked into 7 years. You lock in for 90 days, and you get 50% royalties on your audiobook, not 40. And if you choose the non-exclusive route, you get 30%. Previously, it was less than that, which is crazy. So they're not the end all be all. However, this is still the first option, since they are the loudest and the biggest in the market. So here's what you need to know if you're gonna go with ACX, aka Audible. You'd have to set up an account with them. You have to have your finished audio clips done and make sure that you meet their specifications. The good news is there are no upfront fees. Okay, it's just the royalties. So if you choose that exclusive deal where Audible is the only audio platform carrying your audiobook, you get 50% of the royalties. If you choose non-exclusive, you want to put your audiobook on other platforms besides ACX, then you get 30% royalties. Okay. So when you do the exclusivity clause, it means you can't sell or distribute your audiobook anywhere outside of Audible, Amazon, or Apple Books. Those are the 3 within the parameters. All right. And actually, run that back. I do want to correct myself. Audible does still hold the distribution rights for 7 years. That is still the case. Now, the royalty model that they're doing now, the one that was just announced May 26, where 50% or 30, the new royalty model calculates your payouts against what's called member value, which is a share of the subscription revenue for, for readers who are subscribed to Audible instead of a flat percentage rate of the list price. Okay. So the payouts will vary month to month given that new model because Audible also has what's called like all you can read for authors, for readers rather. So they could be sampling your book, and apparently they're using that. They're allowing portions of that to be counted towards your revenue, towards your payout. It's complicated, but like I said, if you want to take a look at that for yourself, you can go ahead. You can go to help.acx.com, help.acx.com, to find out more details about having your book listed, your audiobook listed on Audible, and what all of that entails. But that's option number one. Number two is Voices by InAudio. So shout out to these guys. Awesome. Thank you, by the way, Ramazli. Always appreciate the love. He gives a thumbs up and a heart. Appreciate you. Yeah, so the next option, by the way, is Voices by InAudio. And this is the next thing. You see Find a Way on the screen there. The full previous name is Find a Way Voices. Find a Way Voices, all right? They, of course, require your finished audio files. They, however, do not have an exclusivity option. Like you don't have to, they don't require it of you, okay? Authors get to keep 80% of their royalties on all the platforms, all of them, all right? So this is a good, this is a good option if you want to reach Spotify, Apple Books, libraries, and over 30 other retailers. Like your audiobook will be available to those retailers if you go through Voices by InAudio. And as you heard me talk about Spotify, so we'll get to Spotify a little bit later. They do have an audiobook option. So for right now, that was Voices by InAudio. Okay. So you can check those guys out as an option when you're ready. Option number three, Authors Republic. Okay. They require MP3 files, to be specific, in terms of the kind of audio file that you'll want to upload. The account is free to set up. They have no setup fee or distribution fee to open up the account. So you open the account, upload your audiobook, and or distribute it, and then they also give you an 80% royalty payout with non-exclusive distribution. Okay, you get to keep your rights if you go through Authors Republic, as well as Voices by InAudio. All right. So the thing with this one is if you do want your book on Audible, Authors Republic is not going to help you distribute over there. Like you want to set up your account through ACX. Okay. If you have a non-exclusive agreement with ACX, like that first option I talked about, you're free to also put your audiobook on Authors Republic. Okay. They're other partners. So quick recap, MP3 file type, 80% royalty share. The account is free and there's no setup fee. And they do their payouts monthly through PayPal once you accumulate $10 or more in a pay period. So that's specific. That's something you're going to want to know. If you set up your audiobook through Authors Republic, if you don't already have a PayPal account, you're going to have to set one up in order to receive your payouts. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, number four, as I promised, Spotify. They have a distribution platform for audiobooks now called Spotify for Authors. This is a direct upload. You're uploading your files. Okay, just like ACX or Audible, you do have to set up a Spotify for Authors account. And of course, set up your payment information. Your file is free to upload. They don't charge you to upload your audio file. There's no limit to how many audiobooks you can upload, and it's non-exclusive, just like Authors Republic and Voices by InAudio. It's non-exclusive. The royalty fee is now the same as ACX, though. The royalty fee is 50%. Okay, especially for a la carte purchases. Subscription listens, they pay out of a share revenue pool. So similar to what ACX is doing too. So that particular rate, Spotify doesn't openly disclose. But this is good if you want to keep direct control of your Spotify pricing without going through another aggregator or another distributor. Like if you want to price your audiobook directly in the Spotify for Authors platform, like, or in Spotify, this is your option. Now, interesting thing to note, you heard me say it a little bit earlier, but if you go through Voices by an Audio, like your audiobook will also be listed on Spotify or be available on Spotify. Okay. You just wouldn't be able to directly change the price of your audiobook in Spotify if you go through Voices by an Audio. You would have to set up a Spotify for Authors account specifically for that. Okay. And then let me update this very quickly. Number 5 is Publish Drive. I talked about Publish Drive on a previous live stream before when I was talking about authors wanting to widely distribute their other form of books, the ebook and paperback, like print versions of your books or ebooks. Publish Drive is one of the distributors that allows you to do that and have a wider reach internationally with your books. But the good news is they also have an arm for audiobooks. Now, here's the difference with Publish Drive compared to all of the other ones. You do pay a subscription here. However, the beautiful thing is once you pay that flat annual subscription fee, you get to keep 100% of your royalties. 100% of your royalties. All right. You're not dealing with a commission cut. And mind you, there are tiers of paid plans with Publish Drive. So you'll want to go to publishdrive.com to look into that yourself to see the different tiers and see which one has this available. Okay. They do have a free tier, and on the free tier, one book can be distributed for free to Apple Books, Barnes and Noble, and Kobo with no subscription and no commission. That's the free one. Okay. However, free usually comes with restrictions. And in this case, the restriction is it's ebook only, not audiobook. All right. So make sure you make a note of that. If you're going with audiobook through Publish Drive, know that you will need to pay the flat subscription plan. But this is good, meaning you get 100% of your royalties. All right. So take a look into these options. I'm going to run them back one more time. Let me update the caption really quickly. So running it from the top, ACX, that's Audible's platform. Remember that these guys, if you do an exclusive agreement, Audible holds the distribution rights to your book for 7 years, which is insane. And if you do the exclusive rights, you get 50% royalties, but there is no setup fee and there's no annual subscription fee that you have to worry about. So weigh within your own mind what's more important: ownership of your IP, like full ownership of your IP, or a low barrier to entry, meaning free setup with no fees. That's up to you, right? Number 2 was Voices by an Audio. This one, no exclusivity. You get to keep 80% of your royalties, okay? And real quick, going back up to ACX, just a recap of where they distribute: Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. If you go exclusive, you can't distribute to any other platform but those 3, which is, they'll connect you with that. If you go non-exclusive, then you can distribute to other platforms. For Voices by an Audio, that platform distributes or reaches Spotify, Apple Books, libraries, and 30 other retailers. Okay. No setup fee, no listing fee. You open up the account. They take 20%, you keep 80. Number 3, Authors Republic. Same thing, 80% of the royalty share, non-exclusive. They don't require you to give your IP away to them. And the caveat with Authors Republic, one more time, is that you do have to have a PayPal account set up. That way, when you generate $10 or more in a pay period for your audiobook, that money will go straight into your PayPal account. Okay. That's on a monthly basis. Okay. So the 4th one, again, Spotify for Authors. This one, 50% royalty rate, right? 50% royalty rate. And there is a paid revenue share for Spotify listeners that are on a subscription already. It's 50% if they're going directly to your audiobook. Maybe they don't have a Spotify subscription. You'll get a 50% royalty rate for that. And this option is really if you want to make sure you have complete control over the price of your audiobook on Spotify. But if you're not worried about that, then Voices by InAudio is your better option. Okay. All right. And then that last one more time, is Publish Drive. This one, for your audiobook specifically, you will pay an annual subscription fee. However, you keep all of your royalties. You keep 100% of your royalties. Okay. So again, weigh which thing is a priority to you. Do you value like being able to set it up for free, or do you value keeping creative control and keeping as much of your royalty payout as possible? Right. And of course, Publish Drive distributes to Apple Books, Barnes and Noble, and Kobo. That's going wide, because you might have heard me say Kobo and be like, what is that? It's an e-reader platform, or like a digital book platform. Okay. And it's a bit of a wider reach compared to strictly Amazon. So drop any questions you might have in the chat for me. I kept this really simple and quick. Shout out to Ms. Rosalie saying what's up from Jamaica. What's up? Hopefully you're enjoying yourself down there. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I wanted to do this live tonight to show you that, hey, Audible ain't king, man. Like, they're not the only ones in town anymore. They're not the only show in town anymore, which is good for you as an author, because it means you have plenty of options. Like, and that's the name of the game. You want to have as many options as possible. So again, ACX or Audible, Voices by InAudio, formerly Findaway Voices. Findaway Voices. That's how you spell InAudio if you want to look into it. Number 3 was Authors Republic. 4, Spotify for Authors. And 5, Publish Drive. These are some of the most cost-effective options if you want to go the audiobook route. Like, don't make the rookie mistake of thinking, all right, well, this is a little too much for me right now. I don't think I can do it. No, there are options for you. It's simply a matter of prioritizing what is more important to you. Shout out to Bridget. Thanks so much for tuning in from LinkedIn. I appreciate you, Bridget. You're welcome, by the way. I'm glad this is informative and helpful for you. Yeah, I want to, help my people get the bag. You feel me? Like, it's important that we have as many options and are aware of our options to be able to generate that extra revenue. Because one of the beautiful things about writing a book, whether that's the print version, the ebook version, or audiobook, it is an entirely new skill that you develop. And that is the gigantic value. Okay. You develop an entirely new skill and you enter into a completely new industry, which is the publishing industry. So deep dives like this are helpful for all the authors. And if this is something that you're considering, by all means, run this particular video back when the replay is available, when the live stream stops, okay? Because you'll want to definitely write these down for when the time comes for you to get your audiobook done. There are 2 parts to audiobooks, and that's production and distribution. Tonight, I just wanted to focus on distribution. I'll focus on production in another video. And that's, getting the quality of the room, making sure you have a certain type of microphone or whatever. And then, of course, like poor man alternatives in case you don't have money to buy fancy equipment. There are plenty of ways to get a thing done. And the procrastination bully is all about helping you get a thing done. In this particular context, get your book done. All right. In the meantime, y'all, I'm not going to hold you. That was a very quick primer on the most cost-effective audiobooks. So now you don't have to leave that money on the table, because compared to ebooks and in some cases print books, you can generate more revenue with audiobooks because you can charge more. If you look at some audiobooks, they're pretty comparable to print versions, whether paperback or hardcover. And so this is another financial option, another revenue source that is on your table that I don't want you to leave behind. So run this chapter back, run this episode, this live stream back one more time. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments, DM me on Instagram, follow me there first at Activated Author over there. And then DM me your question. I'll be glad to answer it. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't yet. On YouTube, I am at Activated Author as well. Nice and easy. And if you have been hearing me talk about this whole audiobook stuff during this live stream, you're like, Melissa, I don't have a book yet, let alone an audiobook version. I got you. The next Truth to Transformation Book Bootcamp is coming up September 1st. It's a 21-day virtual bootcamp where I get you to completed rough draft in just 30 minutes a day. I get you from ideation to complete rough draft in just 30 minutes a day. So you can go to bootcamp.melissathomas.co/sign up if you're interested in the 21-day Truth to Transformation Book Bootcamp, the virtual bootcamp. And for those who heard about the author activation weekend back in April, maybe you saw the recap and you're curious, you're like, man, I wish I would have made that. Don't worry. The exciting news, you're hearing it here first, is that I've got another one coming up in October. More details to come. And if you want to find out those details, make sure you subscribe on YouTube at Activated Author so you can get those details. Click the bell icon so you get all notifications for the show. But those details are forthcoming. And then lastly, if you want to have the full methodology of how to write a book in your hand, the Pain to Prose playbook is coming to you August 1st. All right, it drops August 1st. You can still pre-order your copy at paintoprose.com if that's something you're interested in. And all of what I talked about tonight is in there. Like I talked about the different audiobook distribution options outside of Amazon.com. And I also have a downloadable document that you can use. Go to paintoprose.com right now, like pre-order your copy of the book, and you'll be able to get the link to get the downloadable list from tonight's episode. Right? But in the meantime and between time, y'all, this was a short one. Thank you for sticking with me. I am Melissa T, the Procrastination Bully, and your hashtag author bestie. And hey, continue to watch on YouTube. Click on my How to Write Your First Book Step-by-Step playlist if you want to get started. If you're, especially while you're waiting for the Pain to Prose playbook to get to your doorstep, if you pre-order it today, like watch that playlist to get some of the pointers that you'll need to get started. But in the meantime, in between time, y'all, I love you. Have a great Thursday. Best of your week. All right.